They didn't even pretend to hide it. I was seated next to the catering staff, right in the kitchen, while my brother's wedding reception played out in the ballroom. Guests danced under fairy lights, clinked champagne glasses, and posed for pictures, while I, their own daughter, ate cold biryani on a plastic stool next to the sink. And the worst part? My mother walked in, looked straight at me, and said, "Don't come out. You'll ruin the family picture." That moment, it burned. I smiled, nodded, and stayed silent. But inside, something snapped. If that hit you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Revenge Tales. If your family treated you like this, would you stay quiet or burn it all down? Tell us in the comments. See, my name is Taylor, and I've always been the extra daughter, extra mouth, extra burden. My brother Liam, he was the golden boy since birth. Straight A's, football star, mom's little prince. I was the mistake they had to keep. I overheard my father once say to my aunt, "If only we had stopped at Liam, life would have been perfect." That sentence never left me, and yet I stayed loyal. Helped my mom with groceries, cleaned up after their parties, even lent my brother money once when he wrecked his car. No thank you, no acknowledgement, just silence. 3 days before the wedding, my mom asked me to stay in the background so Liam's in-laws wouldn't ask questions. I didn't know what that meant until I saw the guest list, and my name wasn't even on it. I was invited to help, not to attend. My dress was plain black, no heels, no makeup. "You'll help with the kitchen stuff, right?" she said like it was normal, and like a fool, I nodded. But when I saw Liam's wife post the ballroom photo online, zooming in on my empty chair in the back corner, captioned "Family Only," I knew I had to do something. What I did next turned that perfect little wedding into a family scandal they'll never forget. I didn't start with revenge. I started with curiosity. Why was I always the one left out? Why was I treated like a maid instead of a daughter? That night, while the wedding celebration roared in the ballroom, I quietly left the kitchen and wandered upstairs. Everyone was too drunk or distracted to notice me. I walked into Liam's old room, now a guest room, and something strange caught my eye. An envelope, tucked under a drawer. It had my father's handwriting. I shouldn't have opened it, but I did. Inside was a copy of a will, my grandfather's. And guess what? It clearly said, "All property is to be divided equally between my 2 grandchildren, Liam and Taylor." My hands were shaking. They never told me this. My parents always said Grandpa left everything to Liam. Was this their little secret? Was that why they always treated me like I didn't matter? I took a photo of the will and put everything back exactly as I found it. I didn't confront them. Not yet. Because now I had power. And if they had hidden this from me for so long, what else were they hiding? The next day, I faked a smile, helped clean up the mess after the wedding, and even hugged my mom goodbye. She said, "Thank you for not causing drama. You're finally learning your place." I smiled back and said, "Oh, I am. But I don't think you're going to like where that place ends up being. If you found out your family hid a will from you, would you confront them or destroy them slowly? And the biggest question, why would they go this far to keep me out of the picture? Unless there's more to this than just money. Because what I uncovered next changed everything I thought I knew about my family. 3 nights later, I met someone who flipped the entire story upside down. My grandfather's old lawyer, Mr. Keene. He'd known me since I was a kid, and when I asked casually about Grandpa's estate, his face tensed. He said, "Your father told me you didn't want anything. He made you sound detached from the family." I froze. Detached? I was erased. I told Mr. Keene I never said that. He hesitated, then leaned in and whispered, "Then you need to see the original file." That file didn't just confirm what I found earlier, it exposed more. My grandfather didn't just split things equally, he'd actually left me the lake house, his most valuable property, because he said I was the only one who visited me without wanting something. But my name had been scratched out, replaced, faked. Mr. Keene was stunned. I notarized this, but this isn't my handwriting. They forged it. My parents. They committed fraud to cut me out. And suddenly everything made sense. The kitchen seat, the fake guest list, the way my father's hands always trembled when money was mentioned. They didn't just hate me. They feared me, because if I knew the truth, I could ruin them. But I wasn't done digging. That same night, I followed my father's car after he left for a work emergency. It wasn't work. He pulled up at a small house outside town. A woman opened the door. She had soft brown eyes, and she looked exactly like me. And just like that, another secret exploded into my life. If this woman wasn't a coincidence, who was she? Why did my father visit her in secret? And if she was connected to me, why did no one ever tell me she existed? Because the truth wasn't just about property anymore. It was about identity. I couldn't sleep that night. Her face haunted me. The curve of her nose, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear, it was like watching myself in an older mirror. The next morning, I went back to that house alone. When she opened the door, she looked surprised, but not confused, like she'd been expecting me. "You're Taylor," she said softly. I nodded. "And you're—" She exhaled deeply. "I'm your aunt, your father's half-sister. He's been hiding me and you for years." That sentence shattered everything. My aunt? Hidden? Me? Hidden? She pulled me inside and told me everything. My grandfather had a second family, a woman he loved before marrying the woman who became my grandmother. But when the family found out, they forced him to leave her. That woman? My aunt's mother. And she had proof. Letters, pictures, old voice messages from my grandfather begging to stay in touch. He'd kept contact with her all his life, and she said he used to talk about me. "You reminded him of her," she said. "Kind, quiet, too forgiving." So that's why my parents hated me. Not because I wasn't enough, but because I reminded them of a shame they buried. My birth wasn't just unexpected. It was unwanted. And Liam? He knew. My aunt told me he came to see her once, years ago. She said he promised to keep her existence a secret if she stayed away. He offered her money. She refused, and he left furious. All this time, I thought my brother was just my parents' golden boy. But he was protecting something, or rather, protecting himself. Would you keep quiet if your entire identity was built on a lie? Because if Liam knew the truth, then maybe the wedding wasn't about love at all. Maybe it was a setup, and I was the only one not supposed to find out. I started connecting dots, and everything clicked like a twisted puzzle. Liam's rushed wedding, the fake smile on his bride's face, the whispers I overheard between my parents during the reception, something about sealing it before she finds out. At first I thought they meant the will, but it wasn't just about inheritance. I dug deeper and found something buried inside Liam's wife's Instagram. A single photo posted months ago, quickly deleted but not before someone screenshotted it. She was pregnant, way before the wedding, and the date didn't match their official timeline. But what shattered me most wasn't the pregnancy, it was the caption. "Sometimes you fall for someone you're not supposed to, especially when your heart knows the truth." She had tagged someone else, a man named Dean. Dean worked at my father's company. But more than that, Dean used to date me years ago. We'd only lasted a few months before he ghosted me without warning, and now he was suddenly gone from town. No online presence, no forwarding address. It was like he disappeared the moment the wedding planning began, and that's when the horrifying possibility hit me. Was the wedding just a cover-up? Had my brother married her to hide a scandal? To bury her connection to me and Dean? My stomach turned. The betrayal ran so deep, it felt like drowning in silence. So I did what they never expected. I started gathering evidence. I sent the will copy and the forged signature to Mr. Keene for legal review. I saved screenshots of the old post, messages, photos, and then I requested the company's old HR files under an anonymous tip. Dean had been fired 3 days after my brother got engaged. Why? Because he got the wrong girl pregnant, and I wasn't the one my family wanted to blame or protect. If you were me, would you expose your own brother on a public stage? Because the anniversary party was coming up. All eyes would be on the family. And I had the mic. The anniversary party was their pride parade. 30 years of marriage, success, and status. The whole town was invited. Fancy venue, gold invitations, string quartet at the entrance. My mother wore a diamond necklace she once claimed was too fragile for me to even touch. My father gave a speech about family unity. Liam stood beside his wife like everything was perfect, but not for long. I waited until the end. After the toasts, after the cake, when everyone had finally relaxed, then I stepped onto the small stage, microphone in hand, and smiled. I wasn't on the guest list for the wedding, I began, but I figured I'd make up for it today. The room froze. My father's jaw tightened. My mother's smile cracked. Liam's glass stopped mid-air. I used to think I was invisible in this family, but I was wrong. I wasn't invisible. I was a threat to secrets you buried. I held up the will. This says I inherited the lake house. Gasps, murmurs. My parents looked like statues. And this? I tapped my phone, projecting the screenshot of the old Instagram post onto the ballroom screen. This was Liam's wife, with my ex-boyfriend's baby before the engagement. Now people were whispering loudly. A few even pulled out their phones. Oh, and by the way, I added, the will was forged. But don't worry. Legal action is already in process. You might want to hire a lawyer, Dad. My mother finally shouted, Taylor, enough! But I just looked at her calmly. You taught me silence, but I learned something better, justice. Liam walked out. His wife followed him, crying. My father sat down slowly, defeated. My mother kept muttering something under her breath, probably praying this was all a dream, but I wasn't done. As I stepped down from the stage, guests moved aside. Some smiled at me. Others looked horrified. But I didn't care. I had finally taken up space in a room where I was once shoved into the kitchen, and as I walked out into the night air, my aunt waiting beside my car, I realized I didn't just get revenge, I got the truth. Morale of the story. Blood doesn't make you family. Loyalty does. And sometimes walking away isn't weakness. It's wisdom wrapped in strength. Have you ever been the outcast in your own family? What would you do if your truth was buried for years? Tell me in the comments. If this story hit you hard, hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to share this with someone who needs to hear it.